Hello, 'tis I, the cool teacher, blocking my eyes from the sun and the bright futures of my children. Bright futures. Very, very, very going to happen. But it is cloudy outside, so we do not need these. However, I am blocking out my sadness and despair because I cannot see my children. But I am very excited for summer. So, I am so ready for summer. Just like I'm sure a lot of you are because, e-learning. I just want to say really quick, I'm sad that we won't get to be together. We didn't get to finish the year together, but you know what? I am so darn proud of you guys for all the hard work you've put in this quarter. There's no way we could have known what was going to happen. And I just want to say that, overall, I'm proud of the hard work you've put in my class, that you've put in other people's classes. And it's just going to make you stronger for next school year. I am just so proud and amazed at the amazing human beings that you guys are going to turn out to be because your future is so bright, right? Bright, like my future. English teachers be like. Okay, so really quick. So, I just want to tell you what's happening. What's happening, right? Okay, so, the district basically told us that today is the last day we can post new work, and so instead of making your lives terrible and miserable with tons of charts and Nearpods and videos, I'm just gonna give you a video featuring me, and then one more assignment, which is, you guessed it, your embedded assessment, which I have decided will be 60% of your grade, so you'll need to try your hardest. Ha 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 ha! So, your embedded assessment, I'm going to give you details on at the end of this video, so it's super important that you hang in there, Busteroo. We got to bust a move and learn the rest of Act 4 and Act 5 so we can determine what is to blame for Romeo and Juliet's death. What is to blame? What is to blame? All right. So, basically, I'm just going to read these acts to you. I typed them ahead of time. So yeah, I'm just going to be reading off my nifty notes here and there. Before I do get started though, I do want to reiterate that I cannot accept any more late work. Okay? I've been accepting late work for the past 6 weeks, and I've reopened quizzes twice with extra attempts, and I offered 2 to 3 extra credit opportunities, especially the extra credit that was last week. Watch out, because that was actually worth a lot. So hopefully you took me up on my offer to do all that stuff, and then if not, hey man, you do you, okay? But I'm not taking any more late work. I'm very, very sorry. I know that makes me seem wild and evil, but I have your best interests at heart, and maybe in the weeks to come, I should say, English, we might be meeting on some Zoom calls for fun. We might do a debate. We might do a Socratic seminar. We might just, have a little class party. I don't know. It depends on how well you guys can promise to behave. We'll talk about it. But here I go. I'm going to read you Act 3 and Act 4 and Act 5. We're going to get this show on the road. I'll explain the embedded assessment, and this video will be over. After you're done watching this video, please make sure you like below on the EDSB page so I know that you've watched the video, and there might be some extra credit in it for you. Okay, so moving on. Act 4, so Scene 1. Paris, that's the man whose hand was promised to Juliet. Little does he know that she's actually married to Romeo already. He shows up at Friar Lawrence's and asks if the man can marry him and Juliet that Thursday. While he's talking to Friar Lawrence, Juliet shows up at the very same time to ask for help from Friar Lawrence because Romeo has been banished from town. She doesn't know what to do. So, unfortunately, Juliet and Paris exchange some really awkward conversations. She's like, ah ha ha, and then he leaves, right? Then she gets to talk to Friar, and she's like, I need your help. And Friar sits down and says, look, there's nothing I can do to prevent this wedding. It's gonna happen. And then Juliet was like, oh yeah? She pulls out a dagger and threatens that she's going to kill herself if she has to go through with this wedding. So Friar's like, whoa, 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 like, let's not be so hasty. He was like, I came up with a plan. You're gonna drink a vial of poison that mimics death. You won't actually die. Juliet accepts that plan. He says that he will tell Romeo about Juliet's plan, and Romeo will meet her at the crypt, and they can run away to Mantua, which is the town over, to live together forever. So then scene 2, we go into scene 2. Lord Capulet is working with the servants to tidy up the dining hall for the upcoming wedding in 2 days when Juliet comes in the room and falls to her knees and begs her father for forgiveness for being disobedient. And she obeys him. He considers disobeying him by asking for forgiveness, and he gives her forgiveness. And as a reward, he moves the day up. So the wedding is going to be a day from now. He announces he will inform Paris at once, and Juliet prepares to drink the poison because she's like, you might think I obey you, father, but actually I'm gonna disobey you and drink all of this poison. So then we get to scene 3. Juliet has her parents leave so that she can prepare for her wedding day. She also tricks the nurse into leaving her so she can go pray. She sits with the vial of poison, wondering whether Friar Lawrence had given her real poison to cover up for the fact that he had a role in their secret wedding with Romeo. But she puts those fears aside. She says, no, I am not scared. And she comes up with all the ways in her head that all this could go wrong. She could die. All these things could go crazy. And then she decides in that moment to drink the vial of poison, and she decides that she will either join her cousin Tybalt in death or Romeo and live the happiest of lives together. So we end up in scene 4. This scene takes place the next morning as the Capulets prepare for the upcoming wedding day. Lord Capulet goes to ask the nurse to wake up Juliet, and nurse goes to wake her up. Now this scene that's it, like it's really that short, but what's important to note is that Lord Capulet is drinking wine with his wife and he's flirting with her, and they're saying all these things like, oh my god, I can't believe our daughter's getting married. All the while, remember, dramatic irony, we know that Juliet's gonna drink a poison and she's gonna be dead and leave town with Romeo because she's already married. But they don't know that yet. They think that she's getting married to Paris and that she's gonna be filthy rich from marrying this guy. So we make it to scene 5, and this scene takes place in Juliet's bedroom. The nurse goes to wake up Juliet and walks in and is surprised that Juliet is still sleeping because she should be doing all the things that Juliets do. And she tries to wake her up, but then realizes she's dead, right? Then she calls out, Juliet is dead, and her parents like run in the room and they're like super sad and they're like, whoa, it's me. And everyone enters the house, like the musicians that were for the wedding in Paris and like the people in town. And Juliet's mom, this is gonna blow your mind. Ready? So Juliet's mom cries about how she would rather be dead than to be without Juliet. Her dad is upset about the heir he was gonna get from her and Paris's marriage. Then Paris is upset about not having a wife, and the nurse says she's in utter misery. So everybody has their own reason to be sad, but the only person that's actually like sad that Juliet has died is her mom and the nurse, right? Crazy. Well, I mean, Paris is upset that she died, but he's more upset that he won't have a wife. Man of the hour, let me tell you. So after all of the woe is me, Friar Lawrence walks in because he knows she's not actually dead and reminds them that Juliet is in heaven now. The friar tells them that they should be okay with the death and that they should make preparations for the funeral because she's not dead, you know. The scene ends with Peter, the servant, getting into a fight with the musicians that were supposed to be there for the wedding because they have to change the marriage, the marriage music to funeral music, which kind of gives the audience like a little bit of laughter and comedy because remember, this is a play after a super, super sad scene because the audience, when they watch it the first time, they don't actually know that like Juliet is just fake dead, right? Or maybe they do. Maybe they weren't paying attention. We don't know. That's the end of Act 4, so we're moving on with our lives. Bye, paper. Hello, Act 5. All right, so Act 5, Scene 1. This scene takes place in Mantua, where Romeo is hiding, and he talks about a dream that he had about love and so on and so forth, you know, fate and destiny, my Juliet forever. And then his servant, who we haven't met the entire play, but his name is Balthazar, shows up and says, Juliet is dead. And he says Romeo says he'll return back to Verona. He doesn't care. And Balthazar says that's not a good idea. And then Romeo asks if the friar had sent him any letters, but he had not received any yet. Romeo wants to honor his vows to Juliet and remembers that the apothecary that carries poison. He offers the man large amounts of money for a bottle of poison in which he can drink and kill himself. The most ironic part about this scene is the news that Juliet's death the news of Juliet's death gets to Romeo before the letter that Friar sent him gets to him. So he actually thinks she's dead and gets real life poison, and the letter that was sent to him didn't get to him in time, but like word of mouth from his servant got to him before a letter could. Make no sense, because there's not cell phones, you guys. They can't get on the TikTok and the Twitter to talk, you know? Hard times indeed. Let's just take a moment. No TikTok. Wow, that's crazy. All right, so scene 2. The scene takes place in Friar Lawrence's cell, where Friar John explains that he was not able to deliver the letter in time. And this scene's a little sketchy because Friar Lawrence isn't worried that Romeo didn't get the letter. He just thinks that Romeo either didn't hear about it or doesn't care. The Friar Lawrence does not believe that Romeo will show up, and it's not really a worry to him. He tells Friar John to go pry open the tomb so that Juliet may escape. However, he is worried that Juliet will kill herself when she wakes up to find she's alone. So then we get to scene 3. This is the very last scene, so I need you to stay with me, okay? Scene 3, Act 5, right? So it's kind of it's super, super long. It's literally a paragraph, but a paragraph. All right, I'm going to read this to you. I'm gonna break it down for you. So the scene takes place at the crypt where they buried Juliet, right? She's in a tomb. She doesn't even know she's in a tomb because she's passed out with the fake poison, right? Paris and his servant are outside the tomb, and he asks the servant to keep watch as he goes to say goodbye to Juliet. Paris puts flowers all over Juliet's grave and says that he has the right to be there and that he will water the flowers with his tears. And then his servant yells, "Somebody is coming!" So Paris goes and hides off into the distance as Romeo and Balthazar show up with tools to break open the crypt without knowing that Paris is actually there. All right. I lost my place. Romeo leaves a note with his servant saying that it is a letter for his father that he must deliver. It is a letter laying out his suicide, saying that he deserves to lie in death with Juliet as he walks inside the tomb to kill himself. Paris walks up to Romeo outside the crypt before he can enter, and Romeo tries to avoid the fight, but Paris tries to fight him, so Romeo pulls out his dagger and stabs Paris in the stomach. More people died! He stabbed Paris in the stomach! Okay, let's see. I should really just fold this. All right. Okay, so right before Paris dies, he asks Romeo if he can pick him up and let him lie with Juliet, to be together forever. He picks Paris up and carries him inside, ready to lay him next to Juliet. He walks in to find a lifeless Juliet and talks about how beautiful she is. Then he drinks the poison, kisses her lips, and dies next to her. The Friar Lawrence appears too late and learns from Balthazar that Romeo is already inside the tomb and has killed himself. Keep losing my spot. I really should have just put my glasses on. What is that alter ego you guys called me? Elizabeth? Was that my name? With the glasses? Really should have put them on. All right, let's see. Inside the tomb already. As he walks in, Friar Lawrence sees Romeo on the ground, and Juliet wakes up and asks where Romeo is. The friar points to his body and says their plan did not work. The friar hears a noise outside and asks Juliet to go with him, but she refuses. She looks at the vial, but it is empty, so she kisses Romeo's lips, hoping that the poison will be enough to kill her. When she hears people getting closer, she realizes that it's not going to work in time, so she picks up his dagger and stabs herself in the stomach. Homegirl stabbed herself with a whole dagger in her stomach. The Capulets the friar and Balthazar walked into the crypt to learn of the scene and then they're all like, woohoo, everybody is dead. Then Lord Montague, super shady, like walks up and explains that everything that was happening with Romeo was too much for his wife, and she died from the anxiety and mourning. So she just like died over sadness because Romeo wasn't there. So Lord Montague says that he will pay with his life to the Prince Escalus, if it is Romeo's fault that Juliet is dead. But after reading the letter his son has left him, the prince said that there's nothing left to be done, and he's left there to mourn over his son's death. The prince explains that none of this would have ever happened if the two families could have just gotten together. The Capulets and the Montagues then shake hands and agree to honor each other's children with golden statues. Now, they don't say anything about any kind of peace being made, but I'm assuming that the golden statues will like serve as a reminder to the townspeople that, you know, maybe this whole fight was just silly to begin with. So, recap. So, Romeo, the very end, Romeo stabs Paris outside the crypt because Paris wanted to fight him. He carries Paris inside, finds Juliet dead, takes out his vial of poison that he got from the apothecary. He drinks it, kisses her, falls dead on the floor. As soon as Friar Lawrence walks in, he is too late. Romeo is already dead, but Juliet wakes up and asks where Romeo is. Then Friar points to his body on the floor, which I don't know why he wouldn't just break the news to her before being like, hey, he's on the floor dead next to you, but, you know, whatever, floats his boat. And Juliet goes into hysterics, and he's like, come with me, because they hear people coming, and she says no, and she kisses Romeo's lips, hoping that the poison that is still on his lips will kill her, but when she hears people getting closer, she realizes she's running out of time, so she grabs his dagger and stabs herself in the stomach. So everybody dies. And everybody dies. The end. So we've officially made it to the end of the play. Congratulations. Now you have knowledge of Romeo and Juliet. Do it with it what you may. Before I go over the embedded assessment, I just want to say it's been a pleasure being your guys' teacher. I am so sad that we weren't able to finish out the school year together. But you know about my open door policy. You know you can come and visit me whenever you want. Like I said, when you guys get your yearbooks, if you want me to sign them the first couple weeks of school, I totally will. And if you don't, that's chill too. That's chill. You know, I'm really excited for you guys to be sophomores. I think you guys are going to like it a lot. Okay, so moving on to the embedded assessment. I did say it was 60% of your grade. That's going to help your grade, but I'm going to warn you, it's not going to save your grade by a whole letter. But also remember how much damage it does to your grade when you get a 0. Some of you know what I'm talking about, some of you don't. Be forewarned that if you get a 0 on this because you choose not to turn it in or you don't do it right, like you didn't try at all, your grade's going to be hurting. It's going to be hurting bad. All right, this is the last assignment. So I will be taking personal Zoom calls, but I won't be answering a Zoom call about how to answer the chart. Okay? The charts you should already have filled out. I extended the offer a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago and last week, to help you guys if you needed it. And nobody really, only like a couple people like picked me up on my offer. So if you want to have a one-on-one Zoom, or you just need me to call you to kind of explain the instructions for the embedded assessment further, I can. I just can't give you any answers. I can help you, like explain it. I have a whiteboard here. I'd be more than happy to explain it or make a video and send it to you guys. Yeah. But what I need you guys to do, so the embedded assessment is not a whole essay, it's just a body 1 paragraph. So if you remember, that's a topic sentence, it's your evidence 1, then commentary 1, commentary 2, evidence 2, commentary 1, commentary 2, right? So 7 whole sentences. So I know topic sentences were hard. We did a couple exercises. I know it's been a while because we haven't been in school since the end of March. But basically, all I want from you for a topic sentence, I will take points off. The topic sentence, -10 right off the bat. If you don't say, like, in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, kind of phrase it like a claim, but like a topic sentence, just for this assignment, In the future, you know not to do that. But the question is, what theme is to blame? And it's not really worded like that on the document, but it's what theme is to blame for Romeo and Juliet dying? Was it their immaturity? Was it the adults interfering? So like the two families that are fighting, was it their fate and destiny? Like no matter what they did, they were always gonna die. So I want you to pick one of those. You'll fill out the front of the worksheet and then you'll write the body one paragraph. So in the topic sentence, you'll say in Romeo and Juliet, the theme blank was to blame for Romeo and Juliet's death. For example, or according to the text in scene 3. So here's the kicker. You actually already have all the evidence you need, my little chickadees. Just go look at your Act 1, 2, and 3 charts. You are allowed to use information you just learned from Act 4 and 5. You can even pull quotes from there if you'd like. But I'm just saying that Acts 1 to 3 are kind of like cheat sheets for you. And then all you have to do is come up with the commentary. And I would like commentary 1 and 2. And then I want a concludatory sentence. It just means like to wrap it all up. So yeah, so just like, you know, in conclusion, boom, because that's just how we're gonna be doing it. All right, it'll be super easy. It's worth a lot of points. Yeah, if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. I'm gonna post the worksheet above on Etsy. And make sure you turn it in there. I'm not going to be accepting work that's sent to my messages, okay, guys? I know it's difficult. I know Etsy is difficult. Trust me, I'm not the most tech-savvy person in the universe, okay? But, alas, this video must come to a close. We've learned about no makeup work. I miss you guys. Summer's almost here. I read to you Act 4 and 5. And I explained to you the embedded assessment. Now, like I said, I won't be explaining to you how the chart should have been done because I'm not accepting them anyways. But I will meet with you to help you with the embedded assessment if you're really stuck, okay? Make sure you message me. I don't want you to wait till last minute. This will be due on next Tuesday. And don't worry, I'll keep the date on here. And that will be the last assignment. Miss you guys. All right, well, I'm gonna get going because it's a long video. Till I see you again, my chickadees. Goodbye.